What? Well, you look like you're good. I may want to see you bad. Okay, let's open in prayer. All heads bow, all eyes closed. God, I thank you for bringing us here tonight for another youth fellowship. Thank you, God, that we're all here safely. I pray, oh God, that as we're about to get started, that you come in the midst of us, God, and you just open up our minds, open up our understanding, that we'll be able to take in what is in store for us. In Jesus' mighty name I pray, amen. Okay, you may be seated. So if you guys check the chat, the messages that's been going around, you would have known that tonight we had a special session where we talk about scholarship, a scholarship program. We were supposed to have someone here, but unfortunately, something came up. So nevertheless, we're still going through with it because we have, everybody know, Jeannie, everybody to see on Sundays. So she will give us the details on the program, and perhaps on another time we could organize something a little bit more detailed, because as you see, it's just the youths here where we have parents and so forth. That would be good to have parents here so they could get the understanding. Because hopefully you guys go home and tell them what's going on here tonight. But anyway, I'm running me out no more. Turning over to Jeannie so she could explain in detail what the program is all about.
Good night again. Like you said, my name is Sister Jeannie. My work name is Miss Adams. Okay. I work at government headquarters, the Human Resource Management Department, and my sole responsibility is training for government employees and the whole of the public, right? Okay, so as for that, I deal with a lot of scholarships. Dee was one of our beneficiaries when she went to study. She was a recipient of what we refer to as economic costs, which is provided to students who pursue studies at the University of the West Indies. Excuse me, but I was text message I want. Notification from. Phone on vibrate. Okay, so why I'm doing this session is that in my day-to-day work, we have persons who we advertise. We got a lot of scholarship offers. We have some that are offered by government itself. And as we advertise, people just pop into the office and they pop in, but they don't know why they pop in. And then we have parents coming without their children, and they're asking questions, but they're still not asking the right questions. And then the biggest problem is when persons go away to study and they come back, it's like it's hard to get employment because their subject choices are not matching with what is happening, what's taking place, right? And also some persons, it is only when they are ready to go to school that they decide this is what I want to do. But what you would have done throughout school does not match. And so it makes it difficult for you to pursue the area of study that you want to pursue. And also for persons, I do a lot, well, I call it counseling. A lot of counseling, when they come to me, they will come in and they want to do certain areas, and I know that we're not going to sponsor those areas. So I try to convince them to take another path. But in their mind, what they want, this is what they want, and so the other path is not even an option for them. But what we need to, why I'm doing this is to let you all know, start planning. Don't wait until you got to finish fifth form or when you're in CFP to say, well, I think I want to be a doctor. But you ain't gonna sciences from before, because you didn't plan from before. You're just making ad hoc choices at this point. So most of you in high school right now, one or two, hearing, nobody in here, CFPC. Oh, sorry. Right? Okay, no, urology already planned her future. She knows exactly what she wants to do. So she already picked her subjects coming throughout so that when she's ready to go to university, she already know what line she's going to fall into. But how many of you here already know what you want to do when you complete school? And have you been advised in school what subject choices to choose that would match what you want to do? Are you doing those subjects? Are you passing those subjects? Because there are some persons, you know, you choose a career choice. You choose a career. But when you're doing the subjects, them they give you licks and they give you licks and they give you licks and they give you licks, and you won't give up. But sometimes you need to give up and find another option, right? And not just because the other option might be an easier option, but because it's a viable option. Okay? Research is very important. Some persons just choose a subject because, oh, my friend, how are you doing? Well, no, my mother got a friend and my mother friend do this subject and they're making a lot of money. But it doesn't mean that by the time you finish school and you enter into the workforce, that area of study would be of any use. Times change, things change, everything change, including what is considered profitable at the time, what is considered, you know, something that is a part of the national thrust. We deal with national thrust. So it is whatever the nation is requiring at the time is that we will give sponsorship for. And so you have to do your research. What is the trend right now? Based on what is the trend right now and further research, what will be the trend in the next 5, 6, 10 years down the line? Is what you are doing fitting into that trend, right? So my advice is that don't just go to school and pick a subject because your friend doing a subject and you feel because your friend doing the subject, so I could do it together now I gonna pass. Is it what you really want to do? You have to know what you really want to do. A lot of us choose subject because they seem easy. Right now, government has changed a lot of the priority areas that we are giving sponsorship for. A lot of people want to go study business management. A lot of people want to study law. Sorry. Right? A lot of persons are pushing towards medicine. And for some persons, it is a passion. But for a lot, is what they're looking at is the money. The money should not be everything. Okay? It should not be everything. Because sometimes you might look at an area of study and you might say, not in that year. Not in it. No, what happened to 10 years down the line? Okay? So you have to look into things. You have to look forward, not always in the no aspect of everything. So, Calvis in first form? Third form? Third form? Sorry. You're in third form. Your plans for the future. Yeah. Accounting. What subjects you doing in school? Accounting. And you're doing good in it. So accounting alone, what other subjects? The thing is, you don't say, I'm doing accounting, so I only do accounts. There are other subjects that would have to accompany the accounting. And you're doing really maths. What else? You know what else? Accounting falls under what field? Okay. So then, when we say business, what are the business options in school? And what else? And what else? Okay. Why? The other thing is, why accounts? Why accounts? So, okay, your choice of subject area, is it just for choosing a subject area? Is there a career path you're looking towards? Somebody else said you must do it. You have to have a reason as to why you choose accounts. The reasoning is what helps you to go forward. So why accounts? Huh? Because you like doing it. Is it something that you see yourself, not just for now doing it in school, it's something you see yourself doing continuously in the future? Huh? Yeah, okay. Well, I guess his mind is made up. For now, it seems. He seems a bit on the, okay. But not to discourage you in terms of the areas that I would have said that we no longer fund in. It's not that these are bad areas. It's just that we have a high influx of persons who would have pursued these in, as time go by. And then they come home and it's hard to find a placement for them. And then most persons are of the opinion, because government provided them with an assistance to do these areas of study, that government is obligated to hire them, which is not the case. There are some areas where persons could actually, take a little, a little chance and do their own little thing on the side. And, build. It don't have to be like big one time, like hospitality management. Some persons, they tell themselves hospitality management. And so when they come back, they must work in the tourism industry. They must have a managerial job, like that. And it doesn't have to be like that. You could start small. There's no placement. You could start selling a little food sales everywhere you turn. You sell a little sandwich, blah, blah, blah. You build up yourself. Eventually, you will have your own business. You are the manager of that business. You don't have to wait to be employed to say, well, I got to use my hospitality management degree. Okay? But we have a lot of those, and so we don't mind persons doing them as long as they can fund it for themselves. But if we're not going to fund it, right now, the way forward is T.C.O.G, technical and vocational areas of studies. This is what we call IT. All are you? Are you always on the devices? It's right now is a technological moving forward. So anything IT related, anything that is technical, skills based, and the fact that we're moving into skills based is because we have a lot of persons. A lot of times we focus too much on the books. Ain't always the books that make the money. The skills is what makes the money, right? And then, because I went to school with people who I know. But these people they didn't just making more money than me. They actually own their own businesses, right? Because they had a skill. Somebody gave them an opportunity with that skill. And they were able to even sharpen their skills. And this is not by going to school and anything. This is by everyday hands-on practice and whatever. So some of us who are in school right now, we might feel like because we ain't doing good in the subject areas that we are not worth anything. But really and truly, you have a skill somewhere within you that you can also push forward and develop. So, and the schools right now, they're offering a lot of skilled subjects, but they don't get utilized. You might find 5 people doing woodwork, 2 people doing whatever and whatever, right? But these are skills that are needed. Construction industry is booming. Mechanics, more and more cars are coming into the country. Just now, the cars that we have using gonna be obsolete because the what do you call them? The battery cars are what gonna be coming in. That's a new skill. That is a new area that you can push towards. Sometimes we actually get scholarship opportunities in some of these areas, and they might not be just across the border where you could run home every time. So persons are like, oh, I can't go there because that's too far. It's not the distance. It's the opportunity. If I could get a scholarship to go Timbuktu, as long as being able to pay 5 cents, I am going to Timbuktu. Some of us, we can't afford it, but yet we want to choose where we're going to study. Sometimes you don't have that opportunity. Huh? What's the lowest amount of money? Oh, that's the lowest amount of money?
In the case of Dav, I remember she wanted to do clothing and textiles in school, but because it was only like maybe she. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Because only 3 students were gonna do clothing and textiles, they scrap it. So like, but I just do it all the time. So like in a case of that, what would happen?
That would be something that the probably if maybe it's the Ministry of Education, I don't know. That would have to be with. Uh-huh. What farm? First farm, second farm, third farm? Oh, but I don't think that should have mattered. There were classes where few persons, technically, but I guess it's the teacher. Sorry, it's skills. Yeah, yeah, that's skills. Well, we would. Let me. Yeah. Okay, so Dee made a reference to Dav having wanting to do clothing and textile when she was in high school as an option. You know, you have the core subjects, the optional subjects. So she wanted to do clothing and textiles as an option. But there was, according to the teacher, insufficient students in the classroom, and so they scrapped the class, right? Right now, because the main focus for sponsorship right now would be TVET areas. The thing is though, with the scholarships that we provide, if there is a school that is if this one of the schools, because we have, okay, let me explain. We have set relationships with particular schools. So we have relationships with the University of the West Indies. We have the well, they have more campuses now, but the 3 main campuses are Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, right? We have a relationship with Monroe. The lady was supposed to come tonight. She's from Monroe. She's actually a local, but she did her studies at Monroe and she's working there now. So she comes in and she does recruiting and she do little, counseling and all that. We have a relationship with the University of the Virgin Islands. And those ones are, government is the one that provides the financial assistance to those institutions. And then we have other bodies, but those ones are the ones responsible for the financial assistance. So we have Taiwan, and we have Cuba, we have Morocco, we have Azerbaijan, and we have Azerbaijan. What's up? We have OAS. OAS is an organization, not a country. And OAS is an organization that covers several countries. What else we have? We have like lots of scholarships, right? Different opportunities that comes around each year. Now, if you want to do an area of study, and you would come to me and you might say, Miss Adams, I hear you give scholarships, and I want to go study, blah, 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 blah. Have you already decided what school you want to go to? Man, I just want to go to something, but, okay, we have a little session. Okay, exactly what are you interested in? This, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me look at this school and see if it's offered at this school and the assistance that we offer for it, except UE. UE has 3 campuses. We do economic costs, but what persons fail to realize that even though we say economic costs, all the courses at all the campuses do not carry economic costs. So you have to research your area of study and see whether or not the economic cost is attached to it. So if it's attached to the area of study, then we will say, okay, go ahead and make your application. But if it doesn't have economic costs attached to it, then I cannot advise you to go ahead and do it. Then it means that I am committing the government to pay something that is not applicable. Okay? And if I don't commit the government, it means I got to go for any money myself because, right? But usually, if you can come, if you have an idea of what you want to do, some persons may have an idea, but they don't know where. Some people may have a where, but they don't know a what. So then I have to, go through and guide as to, making sure that they're making the right choices. Some people are very insistent that this is what they want to do, and they wouldn't change their mind even though you tell them. And then when they apply for the scholarship and they don't get through. So, you mean to say apply for this? Me's a poor mother. Yes, I helping poor people. I understand your situation, but I advised you already. You made your choice. right? They expect you to bend because they come with their little personal side of it. And we understand some persons with their personal side, but if we say we are not funding this area of study, if I break it for you, then you're gonna tell your friend, well, I get you. Then your friend gonna come and how come that person get you and me get you? And others really can't deal with it. So if we say we're not funding, we're not funding. The only time it changes is if the higher authority says go ahead and give it to that person. So when the higher authority says go ahead, I am clear. Don't care who comes with what, it was not my decision. Okay? So, like I said, you all need from early on, make up, you need to know. I mean, you don't have to say it today, I want to be a doctor from today and wherever. You research, you take your time and you go through things. You have people around you who would have gone to school before. You could talk to them, get little advice as to how they were able to make their career choices and why they made their career choices and what they would have done to, to get the wheel spinning and get into where they want to be. You all have D every Friday. You all have D every Friday. But my thing is, you all are here. I am a part of the church. We have a lot of youth, so I felt that it was necessary to do such a session because I don't want when time to go school, university, you might in school and you want to go university now, and then you're struggling because you don't know where to start. You don't even know what questions to ask. You don't know, It doesn't know much. It's just people coming in and showcasing skills. But the thing is, if they had a teacher, it shouldn't matter how many students in the classroom. There is a teacher. I think yeah. As long as there's a teacher for the area of study, and even if it's just one child choose the area of study, they're supposed to teach it. You're getting paid to work. How much hours? 36? No, teachers don't work 40 hours. They have a less because they need I think they'll get like 4 few sessions per week. So they probably work like 36 hours or something like that on the timetable. They work different, right? But what I was saying, yes, y'all need to know from early what you all want to do in your future. And then another thing too, like right now I'm dealing with some parents. This is scholarship season. And so we have the applicants. We already made our decisions as to who is going to get the assistance. And then this school starts in 2 weeks. But I have parents coming to me and asking me, so Miss Adams, I get a letter. What am I supposed to do next? And I'm like, this is a parent, right? What's supposed to do next? Okay, but the letter gave you instructions, so you follow the instructions. Okay, that's that part. No, these are persons, some of them are, okay, that's the UE. The UE side is easy because, you don't need visas and all of those. But those going to New York and those going to St. Thomas and those going to St. Croix, they need a student visa. And once they get the acceptance letter, the school will tell them what they need to do. But these people, the award letter from us clearly says that you will get this amount of monies towards your tuition, right? Now, you apply to a school, you're supposed to know what your tuition is. And if I tell you that you're going to get this amount towards your tuition, it means that you need to find other monies. Persons have not even filled out a bank loan application, have not looked to their own sources of funds to see if they have enough funds to look after their children who are going off to study. Have not reached, but they want the I-20. This one child, the parent gave him my number. And the child is messaging me, Miss Adams may give me I-20 yet. I'm like, okay, did you reach out to the school? I'll do that. 3 days later, Miss Adams being me I-20 yet. I did not even respond. Because what am I supposed to tell you? You only get the I-20 when you have all your finances in order and you submit that information to the school. The school sends you the I-20 and that is for you to take to the embassy to deal with your visa. But he hasn't sent anything to the school. He hasn't done his financial documentation that he needs. But he's telling me he hasn't gotten his I-20 yet, right? So the thing is, when you're doing your research into schools, you need to research completely. And if you're doing research and you don't understand something, there is always somebody else that you can turn to. But yes, I am here. I mean, I don't mean don't come but mad, be like 24/7. But I am here if you have questions about choices when you want to go where to study, about scholarship opportunities, about your career choices, right? I will not tell you because, okay, you feel like this is the money area, that this is where you should go into. You have to have a passion, you have to have a love, you have to have a desire for the area in order to pursue the area. And like I said, sometimes we have passions, but the passion just ain't working with us. So you always have to have a second option to fall on. Myself, when I went to school, I'm not going to tell a lie, I did not go to school because I wanted to go to school. I went to school because there was someone else who saw potential that I didn't see myself. And they kept on encouraging me to go to school, right? So I did that. I had a choice. I chose, when I was going, I chose psychology. And I did it because when I was doing sociology in sixth form, I wasn't passing it, but I liked it. And the topics that were taught in it. So I chose psychology because of that. And then when I got to university, I was there and I'm like, everybody was downplaying psychology, like psychology for crazy people, where you want to do a subject like that. Well, I know I ain't crazy, but it's something that piqued my interest and I really wanted to do it. But because psychology was being downplayed so much, I figured, you know what, I'll keep my psychology, but I picked up another major. So I did 2 majors in one, but it turned out when I came home, the second major is where I'm employed. So it worked out because then I might have come home and not have a job with my psychology. Because, well, I did the interview for psychology and I was home for like 6 months waiting for a response. But I got employed based on my HRM. So I'm working there and for some reason, I mean, sometimes it gets uncomfortable, but I like what I'm doing because even though I am not, how your family doing, whatever, I am. So why you want to do this? It's the same thing. I am still counseling, but on a different level, right? And I do enjoy doing it. I mean, sometimes I get upset at the people, but the thing is, even though I am upset, I don't show it. And then a lot of times I'm like, Miss, thanks, because many never would get this answer from somebody else. I get a lot of compliments, and it makes me feel a little better. So I know it is worth it, okay? It's not always you will get the good, but when you can get the good with it, sometimes you take it and you deal with the bad, the best that you can.
I got 2 questions. How, like all this information that you're giving us and so forth, how do the parents and students, if you guys go around and, inform people or make them privy to all of this? Because I think I ever. And the second question is, do you need some kind of qualification or anything to be eligible for the scholarship?
The first question, I think I would have done it once or twice on ZIZ. That's when I first started working, and I don't remember what the program was, but there was a program, and we were invited to do a presentation. So I did the presentation then. And when we started doing the revamping of our priority areas, it was causing a lot of rift because persons felt that, because they applied, that we were obligated to give them the scholarships and whatever. And I was asked to do a thing, but the political fees was a little too high too. So I just really didn't want to be all up in that. So I didn't do it. I really didn't do it, right? But in terms of qualifying for a scholarship, like I say, the easiest way to qualify for a scholarship right now is priority areas. Priority areas, and where we do our scholarship based on three things. We have the priority areas, we do budget. So based on budget, because remember we're doing more than one school. And some persons, when you apply, we ask for your transcripts from CFP and CXC. And some persons, their transcript is not encouraging. And I don't think any government will feel comfortable sponsoring some. I mean, some people go out and they shine even though they had the lowest grade. But when you look at somebody with a 1 point or even less than a 1 GPA, and they want a scholarship to do an area that you know for a fact is not an area that is easy to, it's going to be hard. Normally, I would advise persons to redo. Some take the advice, do over the course, and get a better grade. Some takes the advice, some don't. I had a student who wanted to do medicine in Cuba, and this guy keep coming year after year, and this guy only had 2 sciences at CXC level. And I'm like, the criteria has changed. When Cuba started offering scholarships, it was anybody, because they were trying to help the poorest of the poorest, and some persons who just ain't got it. And I think they found out it was difficult. And medicine, medicine is something serious. For me to go and ain't got no background in science, and then you come back, it's hard. So they changed the criteria, and so they have asked that persons have at least 3 sciences at both O level and A level. So he only had 1 science really, and I'm trying to tell him, you ain't even in the running, because there are persons who are coming with more sciences than you are. So go and do your sciences and come back. And this child wouldn't budge. He comes back year after year after year looking for a scholarship to do medicine. Exactly. And then when he realized he wasn't getting through, he tried for a Taiwan scholarship. And then within a few months, I look around and he's walking around in St. Kitts. I'm like, what are you doing here? You ain't had a scholarship? Yeah, but... Eh? He got a Taiwan scholarship, not to do medicine, it was something else. But he was not ready for school. He was not ready for school. So that's the thing, you don't just take, that's another thing. These things, you're wasting people's resources, you're wasting people's time. So you have to make sure that when you're applying for something, it is something that you really want to do. Not because your friend going to study or your father, well, I'm going to study because somebody tell me to go study. But, or your father tell you to go and study. But like, yeah, but I said, and that's because of that. And even the masters, I wasn't going either. And well, actually, because I deal with the scholarship, the offers were coming, but I didn't realize that was there. And this time I went through the book. It's a book. That one, the Indian scholarship, is a book. So I was going through the book, and I happened to see it. And then I said, you know what, let me look in the books from before. And it was there in all the books from before. And okay, and I tried, and I got through, and I like, okay then, right? I mean, even in my thesis, I had to thank him, because it's like, he used to say, he's like, Gabriela, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't stay here all the time, you got to move up, this ain't for you, you got to. He was always there, and the thing is, he was a lecturer from sixth form. He didn't teach me in high school, but I knew him in high school. He didn't teach me. He taught me for second-year economics in that field class. He taught me for second-year economics in sixth form. He saw my potential. And so he was like, this is not it for you. You need to push yourself forward. And when persons push you like that, it means that there is more for you. You don't take it lightly. Some persons will just pass it by. If somebody come and you might feel like you ain't know it, you can't do it. And the thing is, the only time I had to do extra classes was for The maths cast him. I lived in the bed slab, and I lived with somebody trying to help me with accounts. But other than that, I did everything else on my own. I didn't have a group study. I didn't have any other, and I love to sleep. I slept a lot, but I passed. I passed. But I'm saying, some of us too, a lot of us, we feel like when we go to university, it's freedom time. And we forget what we really gone to university to do. Right? But if nothing else encourages you to do what you're supposed to do, should be the bank loan that you're going to have behind that you're going to have to pay back when you come back, whether or not you pass and you are making the money that would allow you to pay the loan. It sits there waiting for you. And whoever signed the loan for you. So if your mother and your father signed a loan and your mother and your father put up a house and you ain't pass and you can't pay the loan, don't come back home and look for the house to live in because the bank going with the house. So if nothing else encourages you, the money that you invest, at least let that encourage you. Because sometimes my roommates, they're going to party like, I said, whether I pass or fail, development bank waiting for me. It is waiting and to go back home to work for $1,200 when you're going to pay development bank $1,200. It was 10 years. It felt like forever, but it was 10 years.
But there are people who paying more. Like,
it depends. The amount you take from the bank, it depends on some areas of studies are really expensive. So some people will take like 3 different loans to pay for the one. Yeah, some people will take a loan from National Bank and they will go to another bank because, banks have maximum of how much they would give. So it depends on your area of study. Or my encouragement, but that's true. Some banks, I mean, if you can show planning, some banks, if you can, bring a proper, what you call that, the business plan, they would be willing to give you the loan because then they could see where the money can come back in and you take care of whatever. But some people, somebody said, you'll open a restaurant. But you say, open a restaurant, but where the planning in the restaurant? Where's everything that, goes into it to show where the profits going to come from and, your costing and all of that, right? I had a thought, but gone. I had a thought, but gone. Yeah, nah. But you just something that will keep you. You got the bank to pay. So you need to, organize. Yeah. There are just like small courses. They're not for us. Our information is not really online, right? Is to come in and talk because sometimes even when things online, people don't read. Like even when you give them things, like another today again, a young man got his award letter. He left already, but he sends me an email to say he realized that the letter is stating a certain amount and it's supposed to be this amount and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so here I do no research because I know what I'm stating and I know why I state what I state. And the thing is, some of these are people that they come into the office. And I swear to God, sometimes one person takes over an hour explaining. So, a lot of the times my paperwork don't get done because I have a lot of face-to-face. And some persons take forever. I mean, you will talk to me to my face, and then if somebody I know from long time and you might have my number, and then you're messaging me 101 times still, and you're calling me because for some reason you're not, and I'm trying to explain as simple as possible because I'm not going to know, ain't no big words I'm using, ain't no, it's the simplest of explanation. But in terms of what Jekyll was asking in terms of financial extra scholarships, okay, there's another thing we do. We try not to double up on assistance, right? Because, okay, let's say somebody's going to UE and they get economic costs, but then they might apply and ask something else, right? We try not to double up. Sometimes there are some persons, we are a little lenient. There are some persons who are actually facing real difficulties. And in those situations, we have what we call a tuition bursary. It's a one-time tuition amount, assistance amount, right? We try not to take it too high, so we max it off at 7,500 US. Not that everybody gets to 7,500 US. Because, of course, when you submit your application, you have to show me this is what the tuition costs, this is what was covered already, and this is what is left back, and maybe you would have taken a loan, and the loan is insufficient, and all that other expenses, and so you're on and maybe you run into something else, some other situation they had to use, whatever. Huh? So you write your letter, and and you get something supportive from the school too. The school, you would ask the school, we call it a status letter. So they will tell you, how the person is performing too. Because we look at performance, we're not just give you government money and you're not performing anyway. So once you have that, we go through it and I'll make the recommendation as to how much I think you can get. I mean, sometimes they take the recommendation, sometimes they take it higher, sometimes they reduce it. So it depends. I don't have the final say. I make the recommendations, but I don't have the final say, right? But for those of you who ain't write CXC yet, and then CFP to do, there is something, it's only one person can get it per year. There is a state scholar, and there's a TVET scholar. Now, if I had known about those things when I was going to school, I would have really taken school serious. I was going to just go to school for the sake of going to school. I mean, I passed, but, the passing would have been on a different level, right? The state scholarship is for the best performing CXC student, and I think they rank you. They use your CXC rank and your CAPE grades as well to rank you, right? That person receives 25,000 US dollars per year for studies up to 4 years, except for law and medicine, which is a 5-year. 25,000 US dollars, right? Yes. Your videotaping. Right? 25,000 US dollars per year for 4 years, except in the case of medicine. And when I say 4 years, some persons, because you went to CFBC already, you might not take 4 years to do your area of study. So if you finish within, let's say 2 years, and you have 2 years remaining, if you want to do your master's one time, you can apply for the funds to do your master's, right? But if you finish everything in 3 years, that's it. You're not going to get the 40 years money. Into. That's what I just say. So if you want to do your master, if you finish in less than the 4 and you want to do your master's, you could apply and you will get the balance to do. No, you will submit, because remember when you got the scholarship, you were supposed to do your bachelor's. So then you let us know that you have finished your bachelor's and you would wish to go and pursue your master's, and so you're asking for the funds in that regard. It has to be documented, because I can't send something to finance to release funds and there's nothing substantial to it. So you realize I got a lot of things I got to go through still, right? And then the TVET scholar, that one came afterwards, but TVET really wasn't nothing. But TVET came afterwards, and the TVET gets 20,000 US dollars per year, right? So, and the runner-up, there's a, and then there's the runner-up. The runner-up for both get 14,000 US dollars per year for pursuit of study. So even if it's runner-up, royalty work for it, okay? Maybe you could get for state, you know.
Okay, you said that the prioritizing like so jobs that in, you know. So what about people like me, right? I doing law, but before I want to double major and the other major is something that I want to prioritize. What are you still okay?
And also, while I said that we took law and medicine and business management and so off of the priority list, if you go on to further, we just talked about the first level. So, like, if she go to do the LEC or she do a master's of something in a specific area of law, like maritime law or whatever, you know, law have different aspects, then that would be considered for assistance. Medicine, this year, it's very expensive, even in the specialization. But some assistance would be considered for the specialization field. But because we have a lot of general, levels of medicine and law and all of that, we trying to, you know, move away from. Everybody wants to do it because they see the money in it, and that's all it is. But then they got to realize too, UE medicine. Even if I pay, let's say somebody going UE and doing engineering, which faculty? At St. Augustine, we don't do engineering at Mona. And we might pay like, let's say 20,000 EC per year for that person as economic cost. But somebody doing medicine, especially depending on the exchange rate at the time, medicine, one person that government ching out per year at one point was 70 something thousand for one person. And then you're going to have 7 or 10 persons doing medicine within the same year, right? So, it adds up. It adds up, and people feel like we're obligated to do these things, right? And then, two, I don't know what profession, if any of you are interested in the teaching profession, but you don't have to go to teach first before you do teacher ed. It's just that you're going to struggle because you don't have the money if you go straight out of school because you got to pay for your classes and stuff. But teacher ed also has a scholarship to it. The best teacher, the best performing teacher within the faculty gets a 10,000 US dollar per year scholarship as well. It's small compared to the others, but it's a lot still, right? So I'm trying that out there in case anybody interested in teaching, that you can, when you're going to the teaching thing, the best results, you get 10,000 US dollars per year to further your studies. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Let me hit videotaping. Age rate does not matter for the scholarship.
Like, I don't get economic costs for my bachelor's. If I want some scholarship for my master's, I could go ahead and apply? Okay.
Yes, you can. If you would have done your bachelor's already and would have gotten assistance from the government and you want to do higher level studies, you can reapply. Sometimes it might be said, oh, you don't get assistance already, but it depends on what it is, you know. Sometimes you might say give somebody as an opportunity, but sometimes there are times when our numbers of applications are low. So once the numbers are low, I might say, well, maybe have the committee meeting. I'm like, we ain't really got an application, so we just, you know, give the person waiver, right? Yeah, area is very important. Areas, some people feel like because they apply. And another thing, I don't think any of you would do it, but I don't like the idea of people feel like, oh, if I go up there, they ain't gonna give me nothing. Are you gonna buy me a representative? So me representative. And a lot of people do that, right? They do that and then they come in and they say, this person tell them must apply. And then they think that because that person tells them to apply, that I am obligated to make a positive recommendation on their behalf, when that is not the case, right? People need to understand that there is a procedure, there's a process. Everybody got to go through the same kind of scrutinizing, right? Yeah, right? So it's there, but And then all they're going to come in my office, come ask me 20, 12 questions. And they're going to come 3 days a week. Okay? But, like I said, what farm? What grade you in? What farm you in? First farm? First farm, it ain't too early to start making your plans. It's not too early to start making your plans. Even, I would say, from grade 5, people are supposed to start to plan at least. Because you're already doing options when you get to first farm. You're choosing subjects when you get to first farm. Yeah. Yeah. So, the environment that you come from, that makes a difference as well. So, may I hear the question from the youth? I only hearing from the youth leaders. Youths. You need to ask questions. You're going CFP soon, and after CFP is college and university. Sorry. No. Which house? After CFP. Questions. Okay.
She's going to apply for IT down N.T.C.O.G, and she's into robotics. So I'm wondering if she comes into you to get a scholarship to go study that. You think that's something saying kids kind of we ain't gonna go about robotics down here?
There is an association. There's an association. Yeah, I think she's in charge, Kimberly Knight. She's a part of whatever. Yeah, okay. But robotics, for her, the first place I don't know she would want to go, but I'd tell people wherever the opportunity is, go. Because you don't know, right? And then in her situation, I mean, it's 100% paid for. So my first recommendation to her would be Taiwan. Unless we got an offer from another country who is offering such a thing, my first recommendation to her would be Taiwan, because Taiwan is a full scholarship. She gets her flight out, she gets her tuition paid for, she gets all her books paid for, she gets room and board paid for, she gets stipend to provide her meals, her basic necessities. So some persons, I might say, if you can afford to, maybe take a small loan on the side. You don't have to touch it. That would be an emergency loan, right? But other than that, Taiwan covers everything. She ain't working, she ain't got no obligations. So she ain't got to worry. Let's say, I got my house rent to pay, I got this to pay, I got that to pay. So if I gone, she has nothing to worry about. Taiwan covers her when she's in Taiwan. The only thing she might got, if she want to come home in between studies, then that's where the expense will come in on her. But other than that, she is covered if she chooses to go to Taiwan, or if there's another country that offers training. I'm not sure. I think it's finished though. There was under education. There was a TVEM, a project they probably had recently, and they were actually sponsoring TVET areas of studies, and it was a full scholarship too, right? And the good thing about it, they didn't advertise it properly. I think it was advertised, but we weren't aware of it. It was only after persons kept coming and asking me questions about their bonds and whatever, and I'm lost as to what they're talking about, so I had to call education and find out that there was this thing that was going on. And those persons were actually bonded to work upon completion, to work within the Ministry of Education itself for 2 years, whether or not you were a government employee or an external person. When you came back, education had a place for you for 2 years at least upon completion of studies, right? But Jadiel, Taiwan, okay? But you need to do your research as well. So don't think because I just tell you Taiwan that you take it as Taiwan and then you ain't do nothing else about it. You have to go and do your research in terms of schools. Because the thing is, too, Taiwan has two programs that they offer. They have the ICDF program and they have the MOFA program. ICDF program is where you go straight into an English teaching school. So when they send out these offers of scholarship, they will have specifically what schools, what programs are being offered. So you apply directly to that school for that program. The MOFA program, though, you have to do the year of languages. And so you have to go and do your research into schools and programs. And it is often advised that if you're going to do whatever area of study you're going to do, when you're looking for the schools, make sure it is an English teaching school. Because the language you're going to learn in the first year is not sufficient for you to sit in a Mandarin taught classroom. It's just to help you to get around. And I guess eventually being there for so many years, you're going to pick it up. But for you to sit in a classroom, it's insufficient. So you have to do your research early. And it's best too that if you whatever school you're going to do your language year in, see if that school also offers the program for your career instead of having to go and find another school, which might be difficult. And to some persons, they lose out because they have a time frame, even though you would have applied for the language school. Because it's a step by step. So when you apply first, you're only applying for the language school. When you get the scholarship, you're only going to the language school. And then, as you're going through language school, you need to start to do your applications for the career school. And they have a deadline. Even if you're one day late, they ain't even watching you. Yeah. And you have to pass the language school in order to proceed to your career school. I did not go to Taiwan, Derry. That was not for me. India. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have to do the language in India. They teach a little thing to walk on the road. Only thing I could remember was pani, and pani is water. Don't ask me nothing else. Man, nothing else. But yeah, you didn't have to learn Indian language because they taught in English. Their English weren't the best, but they taught in English. Right? None of them look like they're interested in being understand. Being understand. What you want? Okay, you're far from that still, but where you ask it for me.
Okay, so like how you said, you don't look at performance, right? What if the child struggling in the specific subject? Either do like after school programs or extra classes for them? Not you, but
That's not for me, that's you. You can choose. If you feel you're struggling in a class, that's between you and your parent. You find an after school tutor and you go classes and you do what you need to do to lift up yourself to make sure you're passing your classes. Oh no, dearie, no. I would encourage them to, yeah, do the classes and stuff. So you start to do your extra classes and prepare yourself. Okay? So, I'm jolly over your questions and you're laughing. You and Calvis.
So I got a question about University of West Indies in the IT fields, right? I will provide like so if I want to go to university to study IT, and I ask like you, what requirements have to go through in order to go to university. What the best option you to give me?
You applying to a university, the requirements are set by the university as to what you need to have in order to be accepted. All schools don't have the same requirements. So you need to find out from the school itself. Anyway, most schools will tell you, when you go to their websites, they will tell you for this area of study, the requirements are 5 CXCs, whatever subject passes in this, blah, 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 all of that. So, like, friend over here, she want to do robotics, right? So more than likely, they're going to expect her to have some background in maths, definitely, physics, for sure. You got physics? So, let me tell you now, maths for sure, did I tell you, do your research? Maths for sure, physics for sure, IT for sure. No, but robotics is more technical. So the physics, remember physics is more on the math side. It's science, but it's the more mathematical science. So she needs to have physics for sure. So that's why I say research. So start now. Okay? You can't be interested in something and don't know what is required of you. So seeing them over there asking nothing. What? Physics? No, but then if she don't have a counselor in the schools though, I don't think the school have academic counselors, and that's the problem. They don't have academic counselors. No. Picture about what? Career choices? Picture? So what area of what your career choice was when you was picking classes, subjects? Or you just decide you want to do robotics lately? Huh? You can't don't remember. You're supposed to know when you decided what you wanted to be. You can't be this lackadaisic, remember, robotic, watch here. What we need to realize, right? You're in a stage of life where responsibility needs to kick in, start to kick in for you. You can't be this lackadaisic and expect to get through in life. And especially not right now. It don't work. I'll try getting this one head too. You can't be lackadaisic. You're saying you want to do this, but then you're sitting there. Who's supposed to choose for you? Who's supposed to tell you what you need to do and what you want? You need to start to get your brains working. Because then you're going to go to school and you're going to get the same attitude and you're going to pass nothing. So, brisk up. You hear? Brisk up. You can't be lackadaisic like that. Don't care, just stop and just saying everything past the boy. You can't be lackadaisic like that. Huh? No. No, but then you see too. Who? This one? Dominic, where you going to study? Where you going to study? IT? You don't necessarily need physics. It depends on which aspect of IT. But she wants to do robotics, and physics is all about movement and all of that. So she needs to do the physics. She needs to do the physics. So it depends. So the thing is, like we just trying to discuss here, we say IT, but we have to realize that some areas are broad areas with a lot of subheadings underneath. So you can't just say, I want to do IT. She's already specific. She wants to do robotics. So you have to do your search specific to robotics. What aspect of IT you want to do? Huh? Video editing. You don't need physics. No. You don't need physics. But you need to do research still. And then, where I see an offer for something like that. I'm trying to figure where I see an offer for something like that. Yeah. Not education wise. But let me for some of us for some of us who might not want to go to who might not want to go to UE and all those the ones that we say we have relationships with. I made mention of the OAS. I'm a geography person, so let me put that there first. But the OAS is a conglomerate of countries. So there are several countries, like how you got CARICOM and OECS and all of those. OAS is like that. There are several countries that fall under the umbrella of OAS. And the scholarship provides assistance for persons who would pursue studies at universities within any of those countries that falls under the OAS umbrella. And it doesn't have to be on-site. They do online and on-site studies. So some persons might start to work and decide they want to study. So the online is best for them because they don't want to leave their jobs and all the financial obligations and all of that. So they would do online, they would assist through online studies. If you want to travel overseas, it's not 100% scholarship assistance, but it's close enough to 100%. They will give you tuition assistance, they will give you housing assistance, they actually pay medical insurance for you, they help you with the books and everything. I guess with the pandemic and everything, the amount that they give has reduced. It was about up to 15,000 US per year, and it's now at 10,000 US a year, I think. And then they used to actually give more scholarships, but they have reduced the numbers as to how much they would give per year as well. But they do a lot of, who knows what is SDGs? SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals. Who ever heard about ILO? International Labour Organization. They are the one that runs most of the countries. They determine they determine the precepts for what is considered first world countries, second world countries, third world countries, and they set targets under different umbrellas. Okay, a lot of research to do. So y'all research those SDGs, MDGs. MDGs were before SDGs. So go and research them and see what they are, right? The OAS scholarships, when they do the categorizing for what they give assistance for, they fall under those brackets. So education, you have education, you have poverty alleviation, sustainable development, what the others be? They have 5 major brackets. I forget what the 5 is, but they have 5 major brackets. But education for sure, sustainable development for sure, health for sure, right? So once your area of study falls within any of those brackets, you can apply for, but they're going to come out of sustainable development. Yeah. That's just say we have the big umbrellas, but then you have subsets under them, right? MDG. DG. So I was saying now, the OAS scholarship though, it's different. It's really geared towards persons pursuing like master's and above degree. So they probably don't normally sponsor you for 2 years. But they have started giving consideration for persons pursuing their first degree. But then because it's only for 2 years, then you're required to have you have a maximum of 2 years remaining in your studies. You have to start on your own. You have to have a maximum of 2 years remaining or 1 year minimum, 12 months minimum remaining in order to qualify for the scholarship, right? So when you're applying, you just apply. They actually look at your history. You have to get something from the school to say, well, Yes, the person would have started, they would have done this amount of credit, and they only need this amount or this period to complete. Otherwise, you're not going to be considered for the scholarship. And that's not us, that is them. That is their policy. So sometimes you might, in error, miss. You see an area study and you're interested, and you say, okay, we're going to push this person. And in error, you might miss and not see how much time they have remaining. And they will send back and say, this person does not qualify because they have too many years still to complete their studies. So they're very specific on time period. Right? So OAS is out there. Okay? I ask questions for all you. You understand? This one here. Which one? Well, the thing is, if you have a state scholarship and wherever, you can go there. Yeah, you can go there. I mean, there are some schools though. There was one student one year who got the state scholar. Lord. And the mother asking, the school she was going to is 35,000 US per year. And they wanted us to give. No, what you say is, yeah, we say it's a scholarship with a specific amount. We didn't say it's an open scholarship. Yeah. I forgot what school it was, but it was 35,000 US per year for that school. Yeah. But I wish I had known about that. I mean, I would have really pulled up my socks and. Yeah. What you want? Well, the thing is, I wanted her to do the presentation because she does a lot of advising for the Monroe students. She normally comes, I guess because of COVID, we wasn't able to, but she normally comes annually, and she do students who would have applied before, she would do a session with them to tell them all what they need to do to complete the processing and all of that. And in terms of who are interested, maybe for the next year or whatever, about the available courses and how they can go about selecting their courses and all of that. But Monroe, I was bringing her because she always come, but I think, and I wanted her because I think they would have updated their course listing, and I would have wanted her to, I don't know what the new things are, and I would have wanted her to talk about that as well, because for a while their listing had been a little monotonous, and yeah. And then, a lot of the applicants, when they come and they say they want to go to Monroe, they come in with a little bit, and I have to tell them, go back to the listing and see if there is something else a little more, or even choose a minor or a concentration in something else that will give you an opportunity to be eligible for the scholarship. Because most of them going to go and they might do criminal justice, because they offer a lot of the ones that we would have taken off. So they offer like criminal justice, hospitality management, business administration or business management, like those. They do human service agency management, but I think eventually we're going to have to take that off too, because we have a lot of persons who are doing it and may see benefit in the federation right now. It is an area that should benefit the nation. Human services, no, the thing is, it's not too small, I think for us, we have too much of a mindset that we have to be employed. Right? Mm-hmm. It's easy. I think in psychology, I think the problem is it's easier to be employed if you have a master's or higher for psychology. Yeah, because in the first degree, well, depends if you do a focus area, maybe different. Because I did mine in preclinical with the hope to go and do clinical, but the only school that offers clinical is in California, and California is yeah, very expensive. And then it's not only that, it's like if I did the clinical, I didn't want to do, it's not even a master's level, it's at a doctorate level, but it's not the PhD, because I don't want to do a PhD, because I don't want to do research. I don't want to, no, I don't want to stats. No, I don't want to do stats. No. Why I don't want to do research, because math. No, not math, it has stats. And I am not into stats. Right? And then, why I did this, why I was thinking the other one, because if you do the other one, you have to do all the sciences. Right? Yeah, the science is coming. So you have to look at when you're doing a BA or a BSc. You have to know where you're going. Because it makes a difference. You have to have the master's. Because I did clinical psychology. And it's for clinical psychology. Maybe if you got in social development, they would have started like somewhere. Small, probably like, when I had to do the interview, there was gonna community officer or something. I would have got to work like in one of the community centers. I think that was the explanation that was given to me. And I guess people will come in like, I don't know if they have people that they would assign to persons that you have to keep in check with them and make sure blah blah and all them story there. So that would start you probably small, and then I guess as you grow in the field, then it might make a difference, right? But in terms of putting you as a counselor, I think they would prefer for you to have the masters, because then I think with the masters too, you would have to learn to use certain tools that you don't learn in the bachelor's, doing the bachelor's degree. Yeah, right? So wow. You all are very boring. Very, very boring. Men understand. Men understand. The parents them should have been here for sure. Come in, understand. Huh? And here we don't the study. It's a long list, you know. But like I said, we're doing technical, so agriculture for sure. We have tourism, but not the basic tourism subjects. In terms of business, you have specific like forensic accounting, auditing, like yeah, yeah. So we have a lot of different categories, and like I said, the IT field, and you have the different areas under the IT field. In terms of business, the small business development, the entrepreneurship, those things. There are aspects of criminology, but not the general criminology, right? Well, I have a long list that I would have done up that would have gone to cabinet and has been approved. So I'm going to get. I mean, I could get you. You can find it in N.T.C.O.G, creative writing. You can find that in human services. Oh, I was saying the human services. It's an area that we, as a country, need, because it's not just one thing. It has a lot to it. Human service agency management. It has a lot to it. I did it when I was doing my HR. It was a elective. I think I did it as an elective, and it was one class, and it felt like I was doing 100 classes. Right? But it actually has a whole major to it. And I was so intrigued by that one class, I wanted to change my major. But then I'm like, it was too far. Then I would have got to be in school like much longer still, right? But it has a lot to it. It has the content, you have grant writing. So, and it's not like, okay, you see we have social development. I think if they had more persons at social development who would have done that area of studies, social development would have been a better, higher level. Because then, like, when I was doing it, I had to do a lot of volunteer hours. It's a class that requires, because it's about setting up non-profits. And we need a lot of those. I mean, everybody looking at money, but non-profits, right? I did volunteer at this place they refer to as Youths in Need. And what they did at that organization was, we have a lot of these single parents, teenage mothers and whatever. They prepared them for work, to live on their own. And they don't just do that because, they're young still and the parents might put them out or whatever. And so they have a whole building. The building is an organization, a thing. But in the building downstairs, they actually have where they get donations of clothing and whatever for all levels, from babies come right up to level. And food and whatever, and they would come in specific time in the week. They go downstairs and they'll go through and take what they want. Nobody telling them, you can't get this, you can't get that. They come in and they go through and they sort out and they pick out what they want and they go with that. They set them up on little jobs. So they have jobs that they could